Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey. And sometimes the most powerful pilgrimages don't happen in foreign countries or across ancient ruins. Now, sometimes they start right at your parish doorstep. And today we're joined by Carol Herrera, a devoted volunteer at the Guadalupe Radio Network, and she's the Gabriel Award-winning call screener for the spirit world. We like to call her that. But beyond her work behind the scenes, Carol recently finished something pretty remarkable, visiting every single parish in the Archdiocese. Wow, that's so cool. Carol, first of all, welcome and good morning.
Good morning, Keith. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. So let's start with some of the basics here.
Okay.
How did this whole idea of visiting every parish even come about?
Well, I'll tell you, Keith, that the Lord works in mysterious ways. So I want to give him all the credit for my pilgrimage. But it was in 2020 when I was at church. I was praying about a pilgrimage that I had actually scheduled to go to the Holy Land. Well, that got canceled due to COVID. And I was really sad about that. I was really looking forward to it and learning more about my faith. And, where it all started, in Jerusalem, in Bethlehem, the Holy Land. And then a few minutes later, the Holy Spirit came to me in a thought that I didn't need to go abroad to do it, and that I could learn more about my faith and grow closer to Christ here at home. And that, shortly after that, I was almost in tears because, I really felt that the Holy Spirit was listening to me, that the Lord knew what I needed at that time. So I didn't give it a second thought. I came home, I printed a list of all the parishes in Galveston-Houston, and the rest is history. I never looked back.
Wow. I can see how that would be very disappointing. Like you have this pilgrimage in mind.
Oh, yeah.
You're ready to go mentally. And then, of course, something like COVID happens. But I love the story of how the Holy Spirit really kind of encouraged this.
It touched my heart, yes. And
Yeah.
I knew what I had to do at that time.
So how many parishes did you end up visiting in total? And how did you keep track?
Well, I visited. Well, at that time when I started, we had about 150 parishes. Now there's 146. But actually, some of the parishes consist of 1 to 5 parishes, like one in Galveston, which consists of 5 churches, which is Holy Family Catholic Church, parish, I should say.
Mm.
So in total, I went to 160 churches.
Whoa.
I did it. I started in 2020, and I wrapped up at the end of 2024. So it was an amazing trip. I thoroughly enjoyed it. In fact, I did it I started during the time that COVID was in place. So that was very challenging for me initially because I wanted to pick the churches at random, but I couldn't because of COVID and the restrictions that were going on. So I had to call. I had to check to see if they were open. I had to make an appointment. Can you believe that, to go to church? And even then when I went there to a couple of parishes, I had to wait in line because they were only taking a certain amount of people at that time. And there I was with mask in hand. If not, a mask would be provided to you, and then you were assigned an area to sit. And then in 2021, the following year, again, I had the challenge of the freeze then, and then many other obstacles at that time, the freeze, the heat waves, and then the flooding. But by the grace of God, I was able to make the journey. That's why I give him all the credit. I don't know how I did it. I look back now, and I can't believe it. After 4 years of going to a parish almost every week, that was what I was trying to do, go every week so I could keep it consistent. And so it was very rewarding for me. I really enjoyed it, and I discovered so many treasures along the way. It was just amazing about so much that I was missing out in this parish. So, it was beautiful. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah, you're giving me flashbacks there of the COVID era with the churches and having, wow.
Right. It all seems like a dream now. It doesn't even feel like it happened, but it happened. It happened. For the first time in the history of my life. So it was just I tell you, so surreal,
I can imagine. We were all there. Were there any parishes that you really surprised you, whether by like their beauty, their history, or just the people you met?
Well, there were actually so many that touched my heart, really spoke to me, either through their beauty, the homilies, the parishioners. As I mentioned, we have so many treasures in our diocese. And when I mean that, too, I mean just the church itself, but some of those most incredible frescoes, statues, Stations of the Cross, stained glass windows, paintings, indoors and outdoors, and the architecture and design of some of these churches. I was just blown away, and so many beautiful shrines and grottos, and the landscaping of some of the churches was beautiful. And then a lot of these churches also have beautiful outdoor water fountains, and those were amazing as well. So it was just the beauty of all these treasures, all these churches on sacred ground. I was just so blessed to be able to see it, and I took a lot of pictures on the way. So I regularly go back, to see the pictures, to go back and kind of reflect on what I saw, because it was just an incredible time every time I went to the different parish. I never knew what to expect, but I always was anticipating, okay, what am I going to see next? What is God telling me now? And I really felt him along the way. And I don't know if Tim mentioned to you, but one of the things that really, really impressed me was that prior to my pilgrimage, I had never seen a walk-in baptismal font. I was amazed at so many of the parishes that had them, and they were so large. Some were, you could walk in and stand in line, and they were so beautiful and uniquely designed. And so it was really a treat for me to see one. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see one at work because during COVID and over the years after that, they were being very careful about having those baptisms. But I was invited many times back to the different churches to come witness someone who was being baptized in a walk-in baptismal font.
Wow. So
that was a real treat.
I can, yeah. So this were all of these different types of baptismal fonts. It was in the Archdiocese. Could you remind us all?
That's right. That the cleansing of sin, of original sin. And it was just, I was just, like I tell you, blown away, because there was one parish I went to where you had a baptismal font. It wasn't a walk-in one, but it was a baptismal font. And then you had the Holy Spirit above in the ceiling there, and it was amazing. I just couldn't take my eyes off of it, because I knew that at one time I was there, I was being baptized. I had sin washed away from me, and it was the beginning. It was the beginning of a whole new life for me as a baby. So that was really momentous for me. Again, just seeing those as well.
Were there any unexpected graces or personal revelations along the way?
I felt a transformation going on in my life. I pray, Keith, but I didn't feel like at this time that maybe I wasn't praying enough. And what this pilgrimage did is made me more prayerful. It brought me closer to Christ, and it made me feel that maybe I didn't have that relationship prior to it, and that during the pilgrimage, that's exactly what was happening. My relationship with Christ was growing. My prayer life was growing. I was more open to him coming into my life in every aspect, not just on the pilgrimage, but outside that. It was changing me, how I acted, what I thought, what I did, and so I felt it. It was a gradual change, and at first I thought, well, what's this about, But I embraced it, and I said, I said to myself, and I said, Lord, if this is what you put me on a pilgrimage for, that I'm glad I'm here and I'm open, I'm vulnerable, I'm here for you. And I guess he knew at that time what I needed. And it was not just a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. It was a 4-year transformation. And it was just something, I guess, that I would never forget. It was very rewarding, and it made me feel that he loved me. I felt more loved. But not only did I learn more about him, but I learned more about the Holy Family, the Blessed Mother. I learned more about the saints. I learned more about the churches. I heard something earlier about tours. I was given, there was one thing that I did do at a lot of the parishes after I talked to some of the parishioners and the clergy about my pilgrimage. They began giving me tours of their churches. So I learned a lot about what happens behind the scenes, before Mass and during Mass and then afterwards. So I really appreciate it and I loved it. And again, I learned a lot about my faith here in the Diocese of Galveston-Houston, going to all these different parishes, and I absolutely loved it. I'm glad I never looked back. I never stopped, regardless of all the obstacles or challenges that I was facing during that time.
Yeah, God bless you for that. I know we've got about 50 seconds left, but if there's someone out there listening,
sorry.
That's okay. No, if someone out there is listening and they want to start a local pilgrimage similar to what you've done, what advice would you give them?
What I would do is pick the parishes that you want to go to, if that's what you want to do first, or pick them at random like I did, but just do it. Like the commercial says, just do it. The Nike commercial, you've heard that one. Just do it. Don't think about it twice, and do it at your pace. It doesn't have to be like mine. I went almost every week, but it can be at your own pace when you feel comfortable, when you feel the calling. Go by yourself or go with some friends. And you're not gonna look back. You're gonna be so happy about it. I learned about some people that were on pilgrimages. Well, I was on one too, but they were just going to certain parishes, and they were having the time of their life. You could see it in their face and all. And I felt, well, this is all for the glory of God. I'm doing it for Him, and you know what? He's given me more than I could ever give back to Him. So I was just very happy that He put me on this journey.
So incredible. And we are excited to hear more on our online roundtable. So that means that we're going to be continuing this conversation on over social media. So make sure, if you want to hear more about this incredible type of pilgrimage, make sure to search GRN online or Morning Joy Radio on any of your favorite social media platforms to join us there. But for those that are going to be staying, maybe listening to the Holy Mass coming up next, please keep us all in your prayers as we continue to keep you and your intentions in ours. So this is us parting ways for the very last moment of this day. Hey, God bless. Make it a joyful Wednesday. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning on Morning Joy, where truth matters. We'll see you.
This has been Morning Joy, where truth matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.